1980s. Yeah, there was some atrocious rubbish produced in this decade, but by and large this decade was a completely different beast from those before it. Whereas the 1960s and 1970s had been about men getting in touch with their feminine side and the peace movement, the 1980s were about manly shit! Heavy metal, half-naked broads, drinking until the sun came up, and yes, movies so blindingly, misogynistically killer that audiences lined up in droves to see movies in which the protagonist said virtually nothing but hilariously awesome one-liners. Body parts were blown off. Scripts were phoned in favor of extended shooting sequences, often involving preposterous-looking compensatory firearms of some kind. The titan of this type of action extravaganza?
Arnold Schwarzenegger. With flicks like Predator and Commando, it's not hard to see why either. These movies were dripping with machismo and good old conventional 1980s special effects. Take a hike, computer graphics. We have anima-fucking-tronics. Just in case you were wondering, Michael Bay, that's where people put on robot suits and fight their enemies in real locations, not some blue-screen warehouse in New Zealand. Now, I would rather run my privates through a meat grinder. No, better yet, I'd rather run Michael Bay's privates through a meat grinder and pour vinegar in the wound than watch another modern movie with shinier-than-shit CG monsters fighting other shinier-than-shit CG monsters in a gladiatorial contest to decide who looks more like they're covered in saran wrap and semen. But I digress. The aforementioned action movies were perfect in absolutely every way. Story? Who gives a shit? Ever see the first Hulk movie? Of course you haven't. It's a fucking abortion. It makes Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo look like Lawrence of Arabia by comparison. And do you know why? Because instead of Hulk smash, we got Bruce Banner sobbing into his pillow and waxing philosophical about his dark side. Stories and action movies go together like sexual intercourse and the AIDS virus. It's bullshit, I tell you! I like my action movie protagonist the way I like my shit, dark and hard-bodied. But if we can put aside the fecally related and vaguely homoerotic analogies for just 5 minutes, I'd like to discuss what those awesome 80s Schwarzenegger flicks were missing. And I can actually sum that up in a mere 2 words. Sylvester fucking Stallone. Stallone created the 80s action movie when, in 1982, he invented the character of John Rambo, a traumatized former soldier who winds up going berserk and killing every single human being in the United States of America. Okay, so it was loosely based on the book First Blood, but honestly, this adaptation is about as faithful as Jude Law after a box of wine coolers. Stallone improved it in every conceivable way. Every part in the book where they would normally whine about America's forgotten veterans, Rambo would instead blow somebody's body in half with a rocket launcher. Absolute cinematic perfection. That is, until 1986. Doing the exact same routine of adapting a book only to toss the source material out a fucking window and replace all the dialogue with car chases and shooting people to shit, Cobra went even further. First off, look at the fucking cover! If I had seen this poster outside a movie theater in 1986, I'd sell my fucking organs to see this movie. Sylvester Stallone looks like he's going to kill you. And I don't even mean that in a general, hyperbolic way. I'm not saying, ha ha ha, he's coming to get you, don't you get it? I mean he's coming to get you. You! Late teens, early 20s, virginal interneter with thinning hair and more video games than friends. Look at that cover! Stallone is coming for you! What's that you say? What's the point of a laser sight on a submachine gun? Ask that question to Stallone's face. Ask Marion Cobretti himself that question. See if he doesn't tear your entire head off. Why does he need a match hanging from his mouth? Well, the ending of the movie explains that. He's always ready to light bitches up. Isn't he in danger of blasting his dick off? Well, judging by this cover, how many men he kills in this movie, and the opening sequence's infamous trouser bulge, I'm fairly certain that Sylvester Stallone has a bulletproof schwanz. Prove me wrong, interweb. Prove me wrong. The movie opens up with some crackheads banging axes together. They're part of some survival of the fittest cult that wants to kill the weak so the strong will survive. What the fuck ever? This movie is about Officer Marion Cobra Cobretti. From the first moment he strides into frame with Ray-Ban sunglasses, cowboy boots, a matchstick dangling from his mouth, and a Cobra-hilted pistol aimed squarely dongward, we know instantly why this movie is named Cobra, and not that wide-eyed, sloped foreheaded buff dude from other 80s action flicks whose name I've long since forgotten. I mean, it's named after Stallone's character because whenever he's not on screen, it's impossible to care about anything going on. The insidious murder cult could be actively raping the elderly on camera, and all you'd be thinking is, when's Stallone gonna drop another dirtbag? And drop them he does. In the supermarket, in an apartment complex, in LA rush hour traffic, in a motel, in a factory. They show like a dozen of these New Order cultists at the beginning of the movie, but somehow, by the end, he's killed literally hundreds of these douchebags. Want a chase scene? Chase this, bitch. Cobra has somehow dragged Brigitte Nielsen away from diddling Flavor Flav long enough to have her riding shotgun as he turns the car in a full 180, takes aim with his laser-scope Jetomatic submachine gun, and blasts the pursuing assholes to kingdom fucking come. Chase scenes are usually lame. This one is one of the best parts of the movie. Anything that can be hit by a car is. Anything that can explode absolutely does. I mean, Christ, this couldn't be more awesome if you watched it on a couch made of chocolate, with Motorhead playing in the background and a coffee table covered in gold-plated tits. Watch as this car hits a dangling do not enter sign and sparks shoot out. Nobody cares if it's physically possible. It's like trying to wrap your mind around how a midget like Flavor Flav even scaled that Amazon in the first place. You're better off just not even contemplating it. The best scene in the movie? That's easy. Like all great action films, they save the apocalyptically awesome for last. Shortly after checking into a motel in the butt crack of nowhere, the bad guys show up and shoot Poppy from Seinfeld in the leg. Cobra then proceeds to kill every single person in the state of California, except for the guy with the wicked knife and that one poofy-haired broad who plays a bitch in absolutely everything. But we'll get to them. They manage to escape while Brigitte drives about as well as any woman can, and Stallone hangs out in the truck bed so he can commit murder hundreds of times. Eventually, they decide to get out and walk for no apparent reason until they arrive at what I can only assume is a murder factory. Honestly, have you ever seen a factory in the middle of a grapefruit orchard whose only employee is apparently one security guard whose training evidently consisted of throwing his hands out to the side to make a bigger target when a member of a savage cult aims a firearm at your dome? I honestly want to know where this factory is and whether or not it's even up to code. Do factories generally make a habit of having molten lava pits all over the place with no railing? You know what? Who the fuck cares? If this place was up to code, we wouldn't get to see this.
Jesus in a fucking skirt, that's metal! Arnold who? Give me Sylvester fucking Stallone. Better yet, Sly for president. If anyone can find Osama bin Laden and hang him from the nearest conveniently placed meat hook, it's Marion fucking Cobretti. Cobra, because modern movies suck. Buy it, wimps.
In the zoo, I wanna see the snakes. I don't wanna see the lions, or the gorillas, or the apes.
You know what the trouble with you is? You're too violent.